This is the episode that you've been asking for, how to sell reports in an email sequence. On my testimonial for bodygraph.com, I talked about the fact that in my world, I sell my reports and I have built a passive income stream solely by selling my reports through my email sequences. Yes, I probably would sell more if I was talking about them more on social media, but what I have loved about this strategy is that it helps my ideal clients to move through from my lead magnet further into my world, and then it's a stepping stone. That report is a stepping stone into further work with me. So if you would like to do that, kind of have your passive income stream on rinse and repeat, you can set it once and forget about it, then this is the episode for you. So in this episode, I am going to give you the bird's eye view of a 5-step email sequence that I'm going to walk you through exactly what needs to be included in each of those emails in order to start creating your own passive income machine in your business. I have said this in another episode of the Pulse on Human Design. About 9 months in, I'm making on average between $1,500 and $2,000 a month in passive income. This is not an income claim. This is, of course, based on the size of my audience, how I've nurtured them all along, and yours will be the same. But it's just to show you what's possible when you actually set up the systems in your business that support you. It is a beautiful thing to wake up in the morning to have a $47 sale or three $47 sales. It's life-changing after some period of time. And we know that it only takes one $27 sale a day to add up to $10,000 in income in a year. So what could that $10,000 in income in a year do for you? So I am going to talk a little bit in this episode about an optional add-on for deadline funnels. This is what I use in one of my email sequences, but I've been playing around in another email sequence with not using the deadline funnel and just creating my own sense of urgency so that I can compare the two. And I'll walk you through that when we get there. So your 5 email overview is coming up. Email number 1. Now, this is typically a welcome sequence. Someone downloads your Bodygraph lead magnet on your website, whether it is the human design chart or it is a report that you have created in bodygraph.com, they're going to download that lead magnet. And then they are going to go into a welcome sequence with you. In email 1, you are going to reconnect with them and reintroduce the freebie. Sometimes you land in their inbox and people think, oh yeah, I did that when I was on the go, but I forgot all about it. So start with a personal note that welcomes them into your world and tells them what you're about. Remind them of what they actually got from you, because they may not recognize your name or your business name in their inbox. Highlight one piece of the freebie that's going to make a difference in their life. So again, as with all things in content creation, we're not going to talk about strategy and authority or profile or channels or any of those things. We're going to talk about what actually is different in her life because she knows about this thing that you're walking through in the lead magnet. That's going to be very important. How is she going to use it in her real life? And what you're doing here is making her think or him think, oh yeah, I got to go back and look at that again. So what can you do to create curiosity around your freebie again? Link it in the email if you can. And then the other thing that's really important in this first email is to let them know what's going to happen. Typically, people don't care if you have an agenda. They care if you have a hidden agenda. So you're not going to all of a sudden send them 6 emails a day if you don't tell them that's what you're doing. Now, I know you're not going to send them 6 emails a day, but let them know what to expect from you. Over the next 10 days, you can expect an email from me every 2 days that's going to walk you through how your human design plays in your real life. Or over the next 2 weeks, you're going to get 3 or 4 emails that are going to tell you whatever. Or I send emails on Mondays and Wednesdays, whatever it is for you. Just tell them what's going to happen. Email number 2, share your story and why human design matters. Let them get a peek behind the curtain. Now, your story is not everything that's happened to you since you landed on planet Earth. Your story is, sometimes we call it an origin story. What brought you into the human design or astrology space? What happened in your life that drew you to these modalities, and how have they helped you? What has changed in your life? Where did this originate for you? And what's your mission? Why are you sharing it with this person who's reading the email? What are you passionate about around the human design or astrology information that you think will change your reader's life? This email is all about connection. It's letting people see themselves in your journey. So yes, you can tell your story. Yes, you can talk about yourself, but bring it back to why it matters to that person. What's going to be different in your reader's life because they know human design. I love in email number 2 to invite people to connect with me. My goal in an email sequence in my email system entirely is to get people to engage with me. I want to build relationships with people. This is where I want to get to know them. So ask them something that we call a low buy-in question. What's your human design type? Or ask them a question that they can answer A, B, C, or D. Ask them a question that, have you heard of human design before? Just something really low barrier that is not like, you're not going to ask them, what's your birth date? Or have you ever been divorced? Like, no, you want to ask them something super easy to answer that really doesn't matter a whole lot. That's what we call a low buy-in question. Email number 3. Here's where you're going to really invite them in to further work with you, but you're going to do it in a way that is a win for them. So what I would love to invite you to do is to share a testimonial or a case study or a client win through the lens of that client. And what I mean by that is you're not sharing this story and saying, I'm so thankful that I was able to help this person change her entire philosophy around parenting because it helped her kid with their hyperactive thoughts and behaviors. And now, no, you're going to talk about how was that person feeling when they came to you? What was wrong? What was the problem they came to you for? How did you work together to solve it? And now what are they feeling? So tell it all through the lens of that ideal fit client. Testimonials are always a good idea. You can never use too many testimonials. So you could sprinkle testimonials in a lot of your emails. And in this third email, this is where you're going to introduce your human design or astrology report that you've created in the bodygraph.com system. You're going to invite them into an energetic exchange with you. You're going to invite them to change their life by using human design and astrology in a really intentional way. So this client study, this case study or client testimonial that you've shared, this story about a client who got a win, how could she find that information in the report that you're going to be offering for sale? Position your report as a starting point. I know that you're here with me and you've been really enjoying these emails and you're starting to wonder, hey, could human design help me with that? Well, here's what I created for you. You can click here and get a personalized report that walks you through blah, 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 blah. And it's going to help you blah, 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 blah. So problem, result, problem, solution, problem, solution. Create a sense of urgency to get that report. So this is where I'm going to talk quickly about deadline funnels. So in one of my email sequences, I use a timer, a countdown timer called deadline funnels. There are probably others online. This just happens to be the one that I use. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. I'm just mentioning it because this is what I use. And it actually counts down for the person. I don't know what I have in that email sequence. Maybe within 5 days, they can save $50 on this report. It's regular, a $97 report that they get for $47. And Deadline Funnel or other online countdown timers will actually create that sense of urgency. They click on the button and it tells them how many hours and minutes are left to save on that report. However, you don't need a fancy system to do this. I have done this without a deadline funnel in one of my sequences just to test it out and see. And I just say, I think it's maybe 3 days that they can get it where they can save $50. And this is actually my highest performing report that I have created in bodygraph.com. It is the one that sells the most and it's very low tech. It's in a sequence of, I think, 5 emails and it sells the most. Email number 4. Here's where you get to call out to the skeptics. You're going to normalize the doubts and you're going to offer reassurance to your reader. So you can acknowledge that sometimes people think that this is too woo, or they think that it's crazy, or they think, how could looking at my birth information tell you what I'm supposed to do with my life? You can call out other things that people have tried that haven't worked. This is a really powerful thing to do in your messaging. Call out the other tools that they have been using that they're just not getting any traction with. Tell the story of a human design or astrology skeptic who you've worked with. Maybe you were that person. I know for me, I was that person when I came into the human design space. So tell a story from a skeptic's point of view. Reassure them that they don't need to understand everything about human design or astrology today. And again, position your report as the next best step. Position getting that personalized information that you're walking through them in your report as something that's going to actually move them further down the path. So invite them again to purchase this report and create urgency around it. If you're doing this yourself, you might say there's only 48 hours left to purchase this report at a discount. If you have deadline funnels or some other timer in there, that's going to count it down for you, but you do want to remind them. And then email number 5. If you have a testimonial, this is a great place to use a testimonial. Again, you can never use too many testimonials in your copy. Remind them here about what human design or astrology has to offer. Remind them about the personalized report. Remind them about the discount and invite them to purchase. And then tell them what's going to happen next. So just like people needed to know what was going to happen within your welcome sequence, now they need to know what's going to happen now that they've moved through it. So you might say something like, okay, we've come to the end of the road here. You've gotten the lay of the land for my world. You know why I focus on human design or astrology. What's going to happen now is that you'll be hearing from me once a week on Mondays. Or I don't email a whole lot, but when I have something to talk with you about that I think is important, you'll hear from me. Or I'm going to walk you through the transits, or whatever it is that you're going to do, let them know that that's going to happen. Oh, I forgot to say, in one or two of your emails in your welcome sequence, it can be really powerful to open a loop and say at the bottom, I'll be back around tomorrow to talk about XYZ. Watch for the subject line blank. That's a really good way to open a loop. You can do that anytime in your email system, but it's powerful in your email welcome sequence to do that a couple of times. Their brains will automatically be like, oh, I got to watch for that. And they will actually watch for it and open it in their inbox. One final thing that is kind of a bonus tip. Once people have gone through your welcome sequence, if they click on the button to purchase your report and the time has already passed for them to get that discount, an option would be to have another page pop up that says, oops, you're too late, you missed it. And then what's the next best thing that they can do? That's just a little bonus there. So reports can be a powerful entry point into further work with your clients. They really are one of those steps along the offer ladder or ascension ladder in your business. People will naturally move from your lead magnet, which can be your human design chart or a bodygraph.com report that you've created, into another report, and then into a reading or one-on-one coaching. Your report, trust me, is not going to take away from your other in the room work with people. It is going to be an important stepping stone. And some people are never going to buy a reading with you, but they will be able to purchase one of your reports. If you don't yet have a bodygraph.com subscription and you would love to build your own passive income stream, then I'm going to invite you to head on over to bodygraph.com. We'll link it in the show notes for you. And you can get a free 21-day trial to play with the software. There's no limits on what you can do. You can do all of it there. Even try out our new website builder and our new audio reports.